Today we're exposing the truth about child trafficking. It doesn't happen with your child being snatched from the street, but more often with grooming that could be going on right under your nose in your own home. A leading expert on child trafficking is our guest right now on Maggie and the Moms. It's time for Maggie and the Moms. Sponsored by Tampa General Hospital. Child trafficking often begins in everyday environments. Let me say that again. The environments that your son or daughter is in every single day of their lives is the very place where predators could be grooming them for eventual child trafficking. Our guest today is an expert on the subject. Natasha Nascimento founded Redefining Refuge, and she has been working with children who have gone through this nightmare for how long? 16 years?
16 years.
16 years. Thank you so much for what you do, first of all, for these children. We will talk about all of that, how we can help them. But first, I'd like to tackle this thing about everyday environments, because there are so many myths surrounding child trafficking where parents are concerned. In my mind, frankly, it was always thinking the white van pulls up and snatches my child. That's
Right.
not true?
No. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. It's a great introduction.
Thank you.
A lot of people, when they think of trafficking, they think of abduction-related cases. And unfortunately, all the movies that come out, they don't help. You know, they perpetuate that stereotype that a kid gets snatched off the street. That's sort of how trafficking happens, or that trafficking is happening in far-off countries. Not true. So in the 16 years that we've been doing the work, we have had 0 abduction-related cases.
Zero.
Zero. We've had 0 abduction-related cases, and statistically, about 1% of child trafficking cases in the United States is abduction-related.
Only 1%.
Statistically, yes.
So the rest, the 99%, it is happening through grooming?
So grooming, and sadly, we have a very big problem with familial trafficking
Really?
as well, which I was surprised to learn when I sort of got involved in the work. You know, we have substance use issues in various parts of the country, and so a lot of time you'll see a parent or a primary caregiver that is selling their own child, you know, in exchange for whatever the substance is that they're using. And then to your point, the grooming cases, the befriending of somebody, and I love that you said white van, because we all grew up with the, white van's going to
Yeah.
come and sort of snatch you off the side of the
So
road.
what is the modern day equivalent of the
Yes.
white van?
A phone. If your
I'm
child
not
has,
surprised.
oh yeah,
Gosh.
I mean, if your child has any kind of electronic device, an iPhone, an iPad, whatever the case is, any smartphone, you have a white van in your home. And the worst thing about that white van is there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that your child can interact with. There are thousands of not
Predators.
good intentioned people, exactly, that have access to your children. And so that is the one day white van.
I have chills all over because so many of us think our child is safe at home. But
Oh,
my
yeah.
child could be sitting on the sofa, feet away from me, engaging with somebody who intends to do him harm.
Yes.
So, how do you prevent it? How do you give your kid a phone without worrying about that possible consequence?
You're always going to have to worry about that consequence. I wish it was one of those things where you could hand it over and put some parental controls on the phone and it's going to be fine, but it's not. So one of the things that we always encourage parents to do is you have to have open dialogue with your children. You have to continue to have conversation with your children, and your knee-jerk reaction cannot be punitive. So if they come to you and they say, you know, somebody did contact me on, you know, this gaming app or on my phone.
You can't be like, why were you on Roblox?
Exactly.
Why
were
did
you
we've
on
told you?
that?
Yeah.
Or that your knee-jerk reaction is to take it away.
Yes.
So we speak at schools all the time about social media specifically. And I'll tell you, almost out of 75 kids, I would say 70 of them have had an experience where somebody has contacted them online and they don't tell their parents. And the number one response that I get from kids, whether they're in middle school or high school, is, I'm so scared that if I tell my mom or I tell my dad, they're going to take the phone away from me. And so we want to make sure that, you know, obviously we're very scared. Our goal is not to instill fear in parents, but just to give them tools. So would I be monitoring the phone? Yes, I would be monitoring the phone. It's not enough to just be checking their phones because apps can have different skins. So you really have to know what you're doing, and we can help with that.
But are there platforms, I said Roblox because I have read horror stories, are there platforms where this is more prone to affect children?
We have it on
All of them.
on all apps.
Instagram, Snapchat, you've seen it all?
We did an entire gala on children that were in our program that were all the pathway to entry. Every single one of them was on an app, and every single one is a different app. It could be something
Really?
like Snapchat, Instagram, Roblox. It doesn't matter.
And how
doesn't
does
matter.
it start? Do they approach these children pretending to be someone else?
Sometimes they'll approach as a classmate, or it's very easy. I tell kids when I go speak to them, I go, how do you know I'm not friends with you on social media? Do you think I'm going to put my picture on there? What if I have 100 profiles and I'm a little boy in one, I'm a girl in another one, I'm a college athlete in another one? You don't know. I can get a picture and put whatever I want on there. So typically there is that, fake persona. And then other times they just build relationships with children over time. We shared a story about a child who had posted a status update, and she was really upset because she got into an argument with a parent. And of course, there's a predator just waiting to be like, oh my gosh, I understand.
Empathy.
Oh yeah, I understand. Your parents don't understand you. And which teenager doesn't feel like that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And
so,
they take advantage of that.
Yes, they exploit the vulnerabilities of children 1,000%.
So the phone, obvious. I'm not surprised to hear that. But are there other everyday environments? Is this happening in schools?
It can. It absolutely can. And people think that it impacts a certain demographic more than another, or certain schools more than others, and that's absolutely not true. We've had a child referred to our program that went to a prestigious school in Tampa whose parents were both physicians, and she was still targeted. And so it can happen to any kid. It's our job as parents to know what the vulnerabilities are of your child. And just because they don't have maybe socioeconomic vulnerabilities, what about their intangible needs? What about their self-esteem? That's a huge one.
It's a huge one. And that is what I would like to talk about coming up in our next segment, prevention. What can we do as parents to be proactive in preventing child trafficking? We'll talk about that right after this short break. Natasha Nascimento, the founder of Redefining Refuge, was just telling us how our children can be targeted for child trafficking when they're on their phone, when they're at school, even by their own family members. So the question is, how do we prevent our children from falling prey to these bad people who intend to harm them? Let's start there. I would also like to talk about in this segment life after child trafficking, which you have met a lot of experience with that, children who've been through it and whether there's hope afterwards. But let's start with what we as parents should all be doing to look for, are there symptoms, signs?
So, there's various different things. So obviously we want to look for obvious things with our children. Do they have a phone that you're not paying for? Do they have two phones? Do they have...
How do you know?
I feel like a lot of parents have really good intuition about these sorts of things. You can tell when your kids are being sneaky, when they're not really telling you something. Growing up, I remember my dad being like, if you slam your door one more time, you're not going to have a door. You know what I mean? And then other parents are like, oh, but my kids have to have privacy. And so, there's a fine line between your privacy and your safety. So I would say, if they have another phone.
Search the room. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, if you want to do that. Yeah. And so then there's other things, obviously looking at grades, looking at sleeping in class, looking at expensive items that maybe you didn't buy. We actually get a lot of reports that way from friends when they're like, their friends are having really expensive, shoes or purses or whatever the case is. And so, how did you get that? Those sorts of things. And then obviously there's withdrawal. A lot of kids, that's one of the first symptoms that parents have noticed, is the kids get very withdrawn. And so, you know your child better than anyone knows your child.
If something is different, if something is off, trust your instinct and follow it. So God forbid the child is trafficked, the child falls prey to these people. You come to the rescue. When you first take these children out of these situations, I don't even know where to start. What is that like for you? And what is that like for them?
So we don't typically do any of the recoveries on our own. That's left to law enforcement. We've done a couple different operations at the U.S. Marshals, with the FBI, with our Tampa Police Department. And so they're the ones that are typically doing the recoveries and then bringing them to us post-recovery. And I will tell you, it's some of the hardest work that I've ever done. I don't think that you're supposed to see children in those kinds of states. Nothing can mentally prepare you to see, or emotionally or spiritually even prepare you, I feel like, to see children in the states that we've seen them. You know, and you're seeing a 12-year-old girl that needs to be admitted for IV antibiotics for 5 days because she has, you know, horrible diseases, and then is also pregnant, and has had no prenatal care. Now we just found you and you're 6 months pregnant. I mean, it's unbelievable, truly. But what's beautiful, I will say, is the resilience of the children. That's what makes you keep doing the work. When you think like, man, I can't do this for another second, you know, see kids in the state that you're seeing them, and then you see the kids just show up for their own healing. You just have to do it too.
How do you help them?
Oh gosh. Anyone that's a parent knows that kids have such unique needs. And so we don't have a one-size-fits-all approach for our kids. It's just doing a full needs assessment. What do you need? You know, do we need to triage your medical needs, your physical needs? Lots of it is therapy, right? So, you know, alternative therapies, whether that's using art or equine assisted therapies, or, you know, just traditional therapies. But a lot of it's the mental wellness, because no matter who's trafficking the child, whether it's a parent or, you know, a third party, there's a lot of trauma bonding that happens in those situations. And so a lot of it is just mental wellness. A lot of it's navigating court systems. I mean, it's again,
they have many needs.
Yes, many needs.
And they vary.
Schooling, getting them caught up in school. Most of our kids are behind, you know, in schooling. And so we got to get them caught up that way. And
are you talking about kids who've been in this type of situation for years?
Some. Yeah. I mean,
most?
we've had, no, not necessarily.
Not
I mean,
necessarily.
we've had some kids who thankfully are recovered after a very short period of time. And then unfortunately, in the situations that you see when it's parents, those cases might take a lot longer to come to light. And so those kids need intensive therapies for a very long time. I mean, we've had kids in our program that were referred when they were 12, and they've stayed with us through 18, and then even beyond 18, even though that's not necessarily what we do. We're never going to say no.
Of course.
You know, you can't have these services anymore. And so it just depends on the severity of the trauma and how long it went on for.
So you say that some children are recovered relatively quickly. You always hear that as a community, if you see something, say something.
Yes.
Is there anything that we should all be doing that will help these children be recovered as quickly as possible if this tragedy happens to them?
I mean, again, just if you see something, I was actually very recently. But
what's something? What are we looking for?
So very recently, it's a perfect example. I was taking my dog to the groomer in the middle of the week, and I see these two little boys, and my first immediate reaction is, it's 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. Why are they not in school? So I just slow down a little bit, and I'm watching, and I see that these kids are with somebody who is a little suspicious looking, and so I pulled over, actually, and just kind of watched. And this.
So it's not about mind your own business in your mind.
Oh, no, absolutely not. When it comes to children, no way.
Never mind your own business.
No way. And so this man was having these kids go into all the different stores, the laundromats, and they were panhandling. They were asking for money. Immediately called it in. They're not in school. They're dirty. They're wearing clothing that's way too big. They're wearing clothing that's not weather appropriate, which is a huge red flag for me. What are you covering on their bodies? It's boiling hot outside, and they're in long sleeve clothing. And again, not in school. And so ended up calling the report to law enforcement, and then they came out immediately, actually. So,
wow.
you know, again, when it comes to kids, the same thing happened to me in a coffee shop, in fact. And that was a real report. There was actually a man negotiating a price with a child in a coffee shop. And so no one else is thinking, why is this child not in school? Everybody was minding their own business, in fact, except for me. So.
And because you work in this field and you know the reality all too well, you have noticed it now multiple times in real life. And I bet you that has sadly unfolded in front of all of us at one point or another, and we just weren't paying attention. Well, that's very eye-opening.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a thing. It's a parent's intuition, a mother's intuition. There'll be a moment where you see something and you're like, oof, you know, what is that? And I would just say, call it in. And if you're wrong, who cares?
Right.
if you're right, you potentially save the life of a child, and that's a big deal.
Amazing. Thank you, Natasha. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, some important parent takeaways about child trafficking. We'll be right back. Before you go, we are speaking with Natasha Nascimento, the founder of Redefining Refuge. She helps children who have been trafficked, and she has been doing that for 16 years. We have to commend you again for the work you do, and thank you for the valuable information that you have given us. I think that's the number one thing, the easiest thing, and yet such an important thing, right? When we know about these things,
Right.
we can make a difference.
Absolutely, yes. You know, one of the things that I was going to say, Maggie, when you were talking about prevention that we talk to parents about is when your kids are little, is teaching them the correct anatomy of their physiology. And it's interesting. So most of us grew up in an era, I did at least, where your anatomy had all kinds of cute nicknames, right? And you never called the anatomy what the anatomy is. And that's very dangerous for children because it teaches them shame. There's been many, 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 many studies now that when you nickname parts of your child's body, it actually teaches them shame about that part of their body. And so when somebody, Lord forbid, violates your child in any kind of way, even if it's just an inappropriate touch, which is typically how grooming happens, they're not going to tell you. Because now they've learned shame about that part of your body. That's a part of the body that you
unintentionally.
Hide. Unintentionally, yes. And there's been many, many studies now where they talk about the importance of naming your physiology exactly what it is.
Even when your kid is 2 years old.
Yes, yes, exactly. One of my friends, she was doing this with her little boy, and he pulled down his pants, and he's like, "Look, I have a penis." And I'm like, "Oh, high five, buddy!"
Yeah.
And you don't want to shame them.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean? High five, buddy. Obviously, you don't want to, show it to everybody, but high five. And he knew, and very proud of his anatomy, and that's great. I was like,
great.
good for you, because we're not doing that. We didn't grow up like that.
So is there anything else that's important that we parents may be doing inadvertently?
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
That you can think of?
I mean, again, I think the most important thing that you can do, we get phone calls all the time from parents about how to talk to their children. Like, how do I talk to my child? And so, you know your child better than anyone knows them. And so it's just having the conversation. Obviously, again, is a fine line between being the friend of your child and the parent of your child. But just keeping the conversation open and letting your kids know that even if they made a mistake, even if they acted inappropriately on social media, whatever it is, they're never going to get in trouble from you more than what could potentially come to them. I mean, we've had friends whose kids have grown up with our organization. I mean, literally since they were 6 or 7 years old. And they've still, despite being around our organization, despite parents having conversations, they've still found themselves in situations where the immediate reaction of the parent is to just, oh my gosh, I'm going to take
I've
all
been
your
guilty
stuff
of
away.
this.
Right, but it's normal human reaction. But the thing is that is what keeps kids from coming to us. So
That's right.
when a parent calls me and they're all like heated or upset about something, I'm like, okay, take a breath. And then let's
So what
figure
is
out
an
how to
appropriate
talk this.
consequence if you don't want your child repeating a dangerous behavior?
I think that's completely up to the parent. You know what I mean? Some kids it works to take away an electronic device, and some kids that does absolutely
That's
nothing
true.
for. So it depends on you.
It just grows
Again,
the resentment and the mistrust.
Exactly, and they're going to go to school and use someone else's phone,
Exactly.
right? So it's really identifying a root cause. If we have kids that run away, as an example, I always come to them and I say, hey, you guys, my job really is to find out what you're running to or what you're running from. Like what's going on? Because it's one of those two things. And so if your child's interacting with somebody that they shouldn't have been on social media, it's like, honey, what's going on? Like, what is the deeper issue here? Is it that you're feeling misunderstood? Is it that you're feeling invisible? You know, a lot of kids, a lot of girls, especially now with the things that go on social media, there's so much bullying. They feel their self-esteem's not great. And so it's really what need is this meeting?
Yeah,
Because
and you
it is a
will
need.
have had to your point, establish the kind of relationship with your child where they feel comfortable telling you
Right.
what's going on.
And that they're not going to get in trouble.
And that
That's
they're not
not the
gonna get in
knee-jerk thing, is
trouble.
that they're going to get in trouble. Kids talk to us all the time. So again, when we go do speaking engagements at schools about social media, there's never been a school that I haven't spoken to when almost every kid, I think I said 70 out of 75 will be like, I've had a situation. How many of you told your parents? Hardly any. How come? well, I'm scared I'm going to get in trouble. But you didn't do anything wrong. Just because you're on there being a child doesn't mean that somebody else is. And so they're the ones that are doing something wrong.
And even if you did something that maybe you shouldn't have, like
Exactly.
engaged or sent a photo.
Exactly.
There's nothing that your child should feel like they can't tell you.
Yeah.
And that's on you.
Yes. And I think you should have those frank conversations, those very candid conversations, even if you send a picture that, maybe your dad and I wouldn't like or wouldn't approve of, it's okay. I just need you to tell me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so just, again, the consequences that are going to come from mom and dad are nothing compared to what can happen to you.
I love that. That's one very important, very valuable takeaway from our conversation today. In our last few minutes, a few more parent takeaways, things we can do to be a part of the solution.
So, I mean, again, I'm going to just keep saying the same thing. Dialogue. There's so many things that you can watch with your kids. And then the other thing I would say is how many parents are guilty of you get a phone or you get an iPad and your child is the tech support in your house.
Oh, it's true.
Right? They know how to work these things better than you.
It's true.
And so really what we want parents to know how to work these things way better than kids. You know what I mean?
That's tough. That's a tough ask.
But it can happen, right? So we have two different classes. One we teach for kids on social media and then one for parents where it's like, hey, it has all kinds of stuff that your kids probably don't know.
Can I take that class?
Yes, that we're going to teach you. And I will tell you that not one time since I've ever taught the class have we had a parent stay until the end because they just want to get out of there
and go check everything. Like, oh my gosh.
Yes, because now they know stuff that the kids probably don't know. And we've collected information from just AG's offices all over the country that deal with these kinds of crimes that tell us, these are the things that are going on.
Okay, I asked, kidding but not kidding. Can I take that class?
Yes.
And is it open to any parent?
So we haven't actually offered it this year yet, but it's something that we will offer, and we'll definitely let you know as soon as we do.
Please, so I can let our listeners and our viewers know, because I can't think of a parent who wouldn't want to take a class like that.
It's very eye-opening. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about what we should do with our own children, but also because you're here and your organization is so important, talk about how we should support these organizations that are helping constantly, that this is their life's work.
Thank you. I mean, you guys that are moms, kids need all kinds of things. So we're always doing, gift card drives. Our kids are huge fans of Chick-fil-A, of all the things, the strawberry milkshakes and chicken nuggets.
That's universal.
So yes, we're always looking for Chick-fil-A gift cards, Walgreens gift cards for kids that don't necessarily have insurance and need medications. And then ancillary needs. We do back to school drives every year. We do, clothing, just all the things that kids need. We have 2 signature events every year. The Mommy and Me High Tea is one that is a sellout event every year. And that's really where we're focusing on the strength of families. That is our prevention event, in fact. So we're doing like really age appropriate things with, I would say, anywhere from 4 to 9-year-olds about body safety.
So you bring the kids?
Oh yeah, it's for Mommy and Me. It's like it's a high, like a tea. It's an afternoon tea.
What a great idea!
All the Disney princesses are there, and it's great. The kids have a great time, and it's learning in a friendly environment.
Redefining Refuge is the organization. Yes. Support them. Attend this tea if you're here in Tampa Bay. Let's close with on a hopeful note. Can you think of a story, a child whose story sticks with you that is a success story, something that he or she did or said to you that made you go, okay, there's life after, there's hope after?
Oh my gosh. I would say the majority of our kids, right? So, one of the kids that really stands out to me is a child that came to our program, I think I mentioned earlier, was 12 years old, just terrified. I mean, you can't imagine. These kids have experienced things that none of us could ever even imagine experiencing. Was very, very, very sort of resistant to any kind of services because who are you, another stranger? And this was a familial situation. So you can imagine how hard it is to build trust. Yeah. Just the most extraordinary transformation that it makes you want to cry, that you've ever seen, faced a perpetrator in court. He got 2 life sentences, and she is away at college.
Wow, she's in college.
She is. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's really
very proud of her. Very proud. They do the hard work. I tell everyone they're like we create the framework, but the kids are the ones that do the work.
So do you, and we're grateful for that.
Thank you.
We have that responsibility as well as parents. So let's do that. Let's protect our children, and let's protect the children in our community. Natasha, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for listening and watching. Until next time.